You know, Emily, I remember almost maybe a year ago at the Ryman when your name first came to my radar, to my universe. We were celebrating the ACM Honors,
Yes.
big country night.
Yes.
And basically you gave chills.
Oh,
At the Ryman. It was
you're so sweet.
like stop breathing when you were performing that song.
Well, it was also Carly for sure. Yes, she's mesmerizing.
That was a lot of it.
It's very kind.
Do you remember that night? Of course.
Yes, that was my very first time ever getting to perform on the Ryman, and it was so special. Yeah, so incredible for Carly to invite me. You know, that could have easily been her moment to shine, and she chose to share it with me, so that's really special. Yeah.
But you know, Emily, obviously you're one of the top songwriters in town. I mean, you've written for a lot of like good friends like Cassadee Pope and many others. But I was thinking like, wow, you've been successful for so long. And we're recording this like early in the morning, which for a musician is like, when you record early, it's because they've been up all night.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, see that part of like your longevity, success in Nashville, Emily, like that you're organized, you work hard, you're disciplined, and you just continue to hustle.
I wish I was more organized, that's for sure. I think having kids and being a mom has made me just understand what the hustle is more and how valuable time is. And, I'm pushing late 30s right now, and all through my 20s, it just feels so much like this town is a yes town at first. Like you feel like you have to take every opportunity, and because you're working so hard for it. And it almost seems like having more boundaries now around my time seems to help me more. And the biggest challenge for me now is just being present in the moment instead of like having that mom brain on still when I'm working, or having that working brain on when I'm with my kids and I should be off my phone or my email, But yeah, I mean, I hope that I'm still working hard. I do tend to say now that I'm a full-time mom and a part-time songwriter. But yeah, the past 2 years, especially with performing, have gotten pretty crazy. So it's still a lot of late nights with shows at the Bluebird and the listening room in town, and just traveling all over the country, which has been such a blessing. And also, my family has to pick up a lot more slack, and so I try to be really present when I'm home and have more boundaries around what my schedule looks like.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, Emily. But yeah, your story is so great. When you were growing up in Minnesota, Emily, take me there when you were a little Emily Shackelton and you were just covering music. The songwriters that kind of like made your soul set on fire.
Yes. So my parents were very musical. They didn't have formal training of any kind, but they just had beautiful voices. And my dad played guitar by ear, and he quickly became, I'm from a town of like 1,000 people. So, Biwabik. Yes. Yes, I know. Everybody gets so intimidated by it. I know. I never realized it was a hard word until I left home, because everyone's like, it's Biwabik. How do you not know? Oh, but yeah, my dad kind of quickly became the town wedding singer, funeral singer, worship leader, all the things. And so I just grew up surrounded by music. I sang with my dad for the first time in church when I was 4. No, I don't from that day. My mom has some like old VHS videotapes if they're still working. And yeah, so my favorites were my parents' favorites at first. They were who I was exposed to. And Carole King, Carly Simon, Emmylou Harris, Dan Fogelberg. He's still my favorite, and he's his songwriting and his very cinematic style and the way he goes between piano and guitar. And I love all that. I love all that.
And but it was great because your songs have such an emotional resonance to it. And, you know, kind of digging in research, it's like I can't help but notice the connection. And when you found Fiona Apple.
Oh, yes.
Because it's like, you know, a song like Shadow Boxer.
Sure.
Like
Oh, gosh. Yes, my favorite.
Like,
yes. Yes.
You know, I remember hearing those songs too. And
Yes.
it was like,
Yes. Who is this? What is this? Oh, gosh. That's like the first time anyone said that. I just got chill bumps. I've spent my whole life wishing I could be Fiona Apple, and then like realizing that it's me, and it's everything is experience and what you go through. I think if you're any sort of emotional songwriter, but that opened up a whole new world to me, and just a lot of those angstier. Yeah, I was like 14, and then like slowly after that, it was Paula Cole and Sarah McLachlan and Michelle Branch, and some of those like more, you know, younger, poppier, but still like, oh, singer-songwriter, Sheryl Crow, you know. I loved all those Lilith Fair artists. And then starting around like 15, 16, my parents didn't really listen to country growing up. I was always country adjacent with all these folk artists. But I found what I call my gateway drug to country music, which was the Dixie Chicks. Sara Evans, Faith Hill, Martina McBride, all the divas, you know, and I really came to town thinking that like that would be there too. And right around the time that I came to Nashville, it just became this barren wasteland of, there were still a few, there was Miranda Lambert, Taylor Swift, Carrie Underwood, but I'm hard pressed to think of, you know, like Reba was always in there still. And the divas were still in there, but it started getting so dominated by male country artists. And luckily that wave is changing, but it's still, you know, almost unheard of to hear of more than one girl in the top 10. And there's, you know, reasons behind that don't necessarily have to do with what the listener wants.
100%. That's a whole different, like...
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, I am 100% with you.
Yeah.
Women make the best stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love this, Emily. But when you went to Berklee, though,
Yes.
I love that chapter because obviously, you know, you won like the awards and you were one of the best students and all that. But I'm curious because every time I've talked to Berklee friends here or whatever, you know, everyone is always trying to be a little edgy, a little bit like trying to do a little something different. How was it basically being in Berklee, which is, you know, it's like bushy, like, or whatever.
Sure.
But you're like, no, I love the Dixie Chicks, and I love Paula Cole, and I love Shania Twain, and I'm still here with you guys in Berklee. How was it like?
Yes. So I just felt like such an other my whole life growing up. They're just like, it didn't seem like there were other people quite like the way that my brain worked. Right. And going to Berklee, I always say was my glory days because finally I was like, oh my gosh, there's other people like me who, you know, would rather be playing in a practice room and like sitting cross-legged with a notebook and writing music and just like studying ear training or silly things, you know? And yeah, there is that element of like, everyone is so good at Berklee that they're almost like trying to differentiate themselves. And it just goes back to, I think everyone has something in their mind that they think is just a little cooler than what they do. I'm sure there's those left of center artists that wish that they wrote more like down the middle commercial hits. And, you know, there's just still, it goes back to that Fiona Apple syndrome of like, I should be more like her instead of like, I should keep learning who I am and like really lean into being myself, which came much later in my journey. But yeah, so for me, Berklee was amazing. I found a really great group of girlfriends. I dated and then got engaged to my husband. And I really found, like, very early on, I thought I was going to, like, I didn't really know what I was going to major in, but I assumed it would be performance or music business or something like that. And my very first semester, I took a survey of songwriting class and was just like, oh, I can major in songwriting? I'm in all the way. And professors really took me under their wings, and I kind of leaned into that commercial thing because they very quickly were like, you know, there's actual songwriter positions where you can, you know, be a songwriter and make your living that way. And I had always thought that artists wrote their own songs, and a lot of the artists that I listened to did. But I started looking at credits and realizing that a lot of, especially the country stuff, were written by completely different songwriters who were artists in their own right. And I really leaned into that. And I think that's why I was able to, like you said, win the John Lennon BMI award, because they are looking for that kind of song. So yeah, Berklee was my glory days. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Berklee, because it does get sort of a snobbish attitude sometimes. But for me, that was like the first time that I felt like I could really like dig into the dirt and like learn some foundational.
Actually, also for the institution.
Yes. Yes.
Because I tell you, Emily, I mean, when I moved here to town 5 years ago, I obviously knew about country, but I understood the power of country in the human soul on like a macro level. And it's very special. I mean, it's beyond any of us. Yeah.
We hope that it, at least for me, I hope that it comes down to the message more than just the earworm, which I think can happen in any genre for sure, but is something you can really lean into when you're storytelling and leaning into your lyrics.
Very selfless about being a good songwriter. And, you know, I talked about it with my friend Ben Johnson about it also. Love Ben. Shout out to Ben. You know, like, Emily, when you write these beautiful songs, like, it's sometimes to let go of some of them. I'm sure you get asked of it all the time, but it's just how you know, you've written some gems. How do you know which was to let go, when, to who? You're a poet. You know?
Oh, you're so kind. Oh yeah, I'll give my songs away to anyone. Show me the money. Yeah. I'm like, it's a numbers game. But like, I've written. You detach yourself emotionally from them? Yes, because I've always come at this from, I'm a songwriter first, and my goal as a songwriter is to get my songs on the radio, get my songs to the most ears possible. As I get older, it's learning to trust that they're going to get where they're meant to, whether it's a number one or not. They're going to hopefully hit the ears that they're supposed to. Right. And that's from a source bigger than me. So I know that if I show up and write the song, that hopefully it can go where it's meant to. But yeah, I wanted the number ones. I want the songs in the movies and on TV shows. And when I really on in my time in Nashville, I really wanted to be the artist as well. One of the artists that I did not mention so far that is like my shero is Celine Dion. And so I thought I was going to be someone like her. Yes. And so that was a hard dream for me to let go of, learning that, you know, leaning into songwriting was where my heart was. Even though like there was always part of my heart that wanted to be on stage. Yeah. And it's really neat how letting go of that and leaning into where I feel the most at home, which is behind the piano, singing songs in the style that I wrote them, versus standing on stage in the middle of the stage, like, what do I do with my hands now? You know? So it's neat. Right. It's been neat to see how God has really given me back this like even better career than I could have imagined, where I get to write songs. I get to perform whatever songs I want to. I can put out my own versions if I want to. But yeah, I've never been precious with them. They're still my songs, you know, like, they're still my babies. Yeah. And I want them all to fly as high as they can. Oh,
I mean, thank you for your time. I think you're going to play a song for us, but let me ask you.
sure.
When you hear a song, that's got to be the best feeling. Like when you are watching TV or a movie and your song comes out, or when you're playing the radio, driving around town and you hear one of your songs starts skyrocketing up the charts. I mean, that's got to be like a profound feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you remember when you were maybe with a pen or without type,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the point's taken, you were writing it from your brain, from your heart to a floor, and now you're like watching it on screen. That's what is that feeling like?
Delicious. It's a dream come true moment every time it happens. It's true joy. Not, this business doesn't give me joy, you know, being present and having my faith in my family is what gives me real joy. But that in the moment, unbridled, like, moment of pride and joy in something that you've worked so hard for is unmatched for me. Maybe only with, you know, my kids are such a sense of pride and joy. But yeah, I was just in Canada and we were driving to the show and a song came on the radio and I was listening to it and I was like, that's kind of cool. And then it got to the pre-chorus and I was like, hey, I know this song. The chorus came and I was like, I wrote that song. And I got so excited. Yeah. Yes, because I don't always get to hear like all the Canadian singles that come out in the States, you know. Some of the bigger ones cross over, but it's kind of two different spaces. So
At least like your own accessibility is more like
yeah. No, it was fun. I get like my younger self when that happens, which is nice to be reminded. Like, oh yeah, I have wanted this for so long, and like this was the moment I dreamt of. So yeah.
I want to thank you, you know, as we wrap up here, because, you know, I was just like listening to like on research past week or so, and I was thinking to myself, man, I don't know if everybody knows you're living a beautiful legacy in music.
You're so kind. That's really kind of you.
Obviously, you work here, you're going to songwriting, and but like I think when our story is done, and when your kids show like the legacy that you created, Emily, I mean, it's like it's a gift to have you here, and it's a tip. What
so kind of you. That's really kind of you.
And I just you know, take a time out on this Monday to just like let you know that you're making a really important chapter in musical. So,
you're very kind. Thank you. I'd play What He Didn't Do, since that was
So give us like the quick bullet like story of that.
Okay. So What He Didn't Do came out of. It was the end of the pandemic. We were starting to write in person again. Carly invited me into this bucket list write with Ashley Gorley. And, you know, he's had more number ones than any other songwriter across genres in history. And we wrote a song and really liked it. And as we were leaving, he was kind of like, so this guy who she was mad at, he was like, so what did he do? And she was like, what didn't he do? And he was like, well, we got to write that now. So we sat back down. It came out really quick, super collaborative. She's such a good writer. He's such a good writer. And the first time we played at the listening room, because they weren't touring then, it was really neat. We would play at the listening room at least once a month together. And the first night that she played this song, people were like singing back the chorus by the end of this song. And the videos of it started going, I don't know, you know, viral. And the next morning there were all of these like fan versions that they'd already sang. Like they'd stayed up learning it and made a video that was out when we woke up the next morning. And it's definitely the most just fan-driven song that I've ever seen. And yeah, it culminated not only in a #1, but in her inviting me to perform it on the ACMs with her. And then I got to perform it at the Ryman again a month later for the NSAI Awards. So yeah.
Good.
Thanks for having me. Everybody's asking what the hell happened, wondering how it all went wrong. But Mama always said, if you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all. I've got my side of the story, he's got his side too. So I ain't gonna go and tell you what he did, but I'll tell you what he didn't do. Treat me right, put me first, be a man of his word, stay home cause he wanted to. Always fight for my love, hold on tight like it's something that he couldn't stand to lose. The devil's in the details, I won't tell the hell that he put me through. All I know is in the end, it wasn't what he didn't, it was what he didn't. I'm already halfway over him and I ain't taking time to turn around. So I'ma take the high road even though we both know I could run him out of this town. That's just dirty laundry, I don't need to air the truth. So I ain't gonna tell you everything he did, but I'll tell you what he didn't do. Treat me right, put me first, be a man of his word, stay home cause he wanted to. Always fight for my love, hold on tight like it's something that he couldn't stand to lose. The devil's in the details, I won't tell the hell that he put me through. All I know is in the end, it wasn't what he did, it was what he didn't do. I ain't met the right one yet, but I know when I do. He'll treat me right, put me first, be a man of his word, stay home cause he wants to. Always fight for my love, hold on tight like it's something that he couldn't stand to lose. The devil's in the details, I won't tell the hell that he put me through. All I know is in the end, it wasn't what he did, it was what he didn't do. All I know is in the end, it wasn't what he did, no, it was what he didn't do. Oh, you're so kind.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here for the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from J-Rod Concert Media.